tunnel I rise. Live, ha ha, live from the tunnel I rise. Ha.
Check 1 2. What is going on, everybody? We are back. It is Equalize Live. PreciseMC and ILLu back with you.
What up?
Week of goodness. What's going on, ILLu?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Not too much. You know, the same old shit. We're in a pandemic, and I'm sitting here talking to you, looking at your pretty face and your sweet T-shirt. What are you rocking today?
Man, I'm representing them boys, Briscoe brothers.
Whoa, that's a throwback, right? Where have I heard that name?
Okay, I got it wrong. They're brothers. They're named the Briscoes. They're not the Briscoe brothers. They're just named the Briscoes.
Oh, does this have to do with wrestling?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a hip hop group.
No, this isn't the. Nah, I thought you were talking about the old Briscoe brothers wrestling tag team from the '70s.
Yes.
Nah, this is.
I was.
This is them boys from Delaware.
Wow.
They from Sandy Fork, Delaware.
Wow, you are a true fan.
They got chickens. They got a chicken coop.
Is that true?
Yeah, Mark's a chicken farmer. Which one's smart? Where's Mark? Yeah.
Wow.
Mark.
So wrestling doesn't pay the bills.
I mean, it does because they're a pretty good tag team, but they also have chickens out on their farm in Delaware.
Do you support? Do you buy these eggs? Do you buy them?
I do not.
Wow.
But I do watch on YouTube when they chase them.
Okay.
That's how they train. That's why they're so fast. That's why they can, go back and forth in the ring so quick because they chase the chickens.
If you can outsmart
Roy Jones.
If you can outsmart a chicken, you can outsmart a wrestler.
pretty much. Yo, did you see the Tyson Roy Jones Jr. fight? Weekend?
I actually didn't, but I did see Nate Robinson get knocked out by Jake Paul.
Knocked the fuck out.
Wearing Knicks colors for God knows why.
Ate the mat.
That last knockout where he just kind of like slides his face across it, he just stops.
He got dropped.
We have a lot of sports to catch up on, which I don't even know if we're going to do. But yeah, Nate Robinson got laid out. But yeah, I didn't see the actual the Tyson Jones fight, and then I hear that there were rules, special rules where they couldn't actually hit each other.
I didn't see it either, but I heard beforehand Roy Jones Jr. was kind of like, we got all these rules, and we're not going to try, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that. He's like, I'm a fighter, like
I don't think
I heard what was it, a draw?
Yeah, it was a draw, and
yeah, so they gonna do it again.
No one threw a head punch. It was all body blows.
Oh, jeez. Anyway, back to business. We're brought to you by the shop at equalizerecords.com. equalizerecords.com/shop.
What up?
I see that there's some big news coming up soon.
Yeah. What's this? So this is coming out on Thursday. Tomorrow, Friday, I have gigantic news to launch. And I've let you in on a little bit of it. And then
just a little bit.
I have even bigger news on top. And then I have even larger news that's going to come out in the coming weeks for the shop. So, yeah, get ready.
So much stuff.
I'm going to have a busy, what is this, December?
Yes, December.
What a fucking crazy year.
Yeah, man, it felt like it was March just a couple days ago.
Yeah, I think it was. Remember we had a show lined up? I think it's technically still planned to go at some point.
Is it? Yeah, yeah, definitely. We were supposed to rock with Lyric, right?
Yeah.
I have no idea where it was.
Orlando's. Actually, it's a pretty cool bar. Shout out Lyric for putting that together. And I still appreciate him doing that, even though we didn't get to actually do it.
Yeah, it was scheduled for the
Sunday. I think it was March 15th.
Yeah, so it was literally the weekend that everything shut down, and I'm thinking should I go do this show?
We were all thinking that. How bad does that look now?
Bro, and I felt even we probably could have done it. It was still all right then, but
it would have been risky.
But it was so weird because it was the first thing that I'd ever done with Lyric, and he hit me up and he was like, "Oh, you want to do this show?" And I was like, "Okay."
That's the first show you've ever done with him?
I mean, I've probably been on a bill with him before, but it was his show, so
right.
He was like, "Hey,
right,
I want to do the show."
He had either a weekly or a monthly showcase that he put on.
Yeah, but I was starting to stress because I was like, "Oh man, it's the first time I'm working with this guy. Now I want to possibly cancel."
Right.
I felt so bad about it.
I think I felt the same way, and now looking back on it, who the fuck cares?
Oh yeah, it's fine now, but at the time I was like, "Man, I could really probably do this show. I'm not too worried about it, but it's a bad look."
Yeah.
And plus, I don't want to come across it. Yeah, and I didn't want to come across as unreliable the first time out.
Well, that's true too. But I don't know. So, we all played it off well. But I'm pretty sure he's going to have that showcase or a different one. He's the man. He's got connections everywhere in town.
Yeah, he's super cool. Like I said earlier, before we got a few months of this pandemic to enjoy it until we get back to real life.
Yeah, we'll keep doing this Zoom podcast in the meantime, but eventually we're going to be in the same building.
Oh, we're gonna be in the same building. You're gonna come out of your cave.
Eventually, once I'm not afraid of you.
You should be afraid of me
I
because
am.
I'm young, virile, I'm healthy.
Virile. He's a virile young man.
I'm ready to cough on you, get all sorts of shit on you. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah, that's right. You better be scared. I've been to California. I've been to other states during this thing.
But you quarantined. I just want to point that out.
I did. I probably got all the good germs. You know what I mean?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But how you been besides that? You went out to California. You said you've been working on the Great Gatsby, which is coming out in January. You want to lay down any more news?
No news is good news. Just I finalized everything. I'm working out the tweaks.
Have we said like who the collaborator is with this project, or if there is one?
I'm not sure. It's a young dude out of Boston named Kilogram
Doing the whole project.
doing the whole project. It's only 7 tracks. So, I mean, it's not crazy. It's a little
Kilogram.
It's a little introduction. Yep, KILOGRAME.
Is that what he's at on socials?
Beats me.
Bro, that's something you should find out.
Well, I didn't expect to talk about him today, but yeah, like he's a new cat. Like I think this is the first project he's done, like that's being released. So, I don't know if he's got his social game up yet. I don't know if he's got this. I know he's got a SoundCloud.
Well, we'll make sure because that's going to be an Equalized Records release.
That's right. We'll post everything when it comes by. But yeah, he's a cool dude. He's got some of that lo-fi vibe going on, and
very dope project.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. So,
as always from you. But yeah,
I'll have a lot.
Production.
Yeah, I'll have a lot more coming.
Oh wow! Besides this, do you have even more news for us?
No, but you know me. Like I don't do a lot of visuals. I don't do a lot of promo, and I'm hoping to have some stuff for this project. So
what we have lined up, I think the people are going to be surprised in a good way.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Check.
Oh
Make sure you check in January. Should we say the date? You want to say the date?
January 29th.
29th. It is official. The last Friday of January. January 29th.
It's official like a referee with a whistle.
Woo! I can't really do it.
And of course, I got more music coming on the way. We know we got PR department. We got more Ill Effect. We got solo stuff. I mean, it's all the plans I had for 2020 are gonna pop off in 2021.
I feel like you left out someone else that you might have collaborations with in the future.
No, I don't think I did.
Yeah, we'll find out then. I guess he's not worthy of a mention.
I apparently not. I don't even remember what you talked about.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
No.
Fuck him.
Yeah, that guy sucks. He's whack.
But yeah, Great Gatsby.
His beats are trash.
That's what I've been saying that to myself for so long. I feel like it's finally coming true.
Oh, I got lyrics. Whoop
whoop.
Got something to one of your tracks.
Fine.
Don't worry about it.
Fine. Even I don't
Yeah,
know about that.
You don't even know what beat I chose.
Oh, well, that tells me something. I don't know much, but I know something.
Oh.
I have more to send you, actually.
Yeah, and I'm waiting. Send it my way.
I will say a little sneak peek. I just finished the final rough draft of B-Side Instrumentals Volume 14. So
Ooh.
TBA 2021.
Ooh, okay. Look at that.
I'm thinking March. We'll find.
March is a good month.
We'll find out. Yeah, that's the Equalized anniversary thing. So I like to do something big on.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, but
yeah, man, I got a ton of stuff coming 2021.
Yeah, Great Gatsby, first and most relevant of which to come.
Yeah, I've got at least 4 things on deck.
4, including Great Gatsby?
Yup.
Damn, son.
Yup, let's do it.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to the theme song in Bad Luck out of Brooklyn, New York. He's on Instagram at 13ADLUCKONLY1. Check him out. He is incredibly prolific, taking pictures and snapshots of graph artists down in Brooklyn and New York City in general. Probably one of my favorite Instagram feeds to follow.
Yeah, I'm glad you read the handle because I was just steering away from that.
I felt like you did that on purpose.
Well, while we're on the subject of Equalized Live, you just released my verse from the song.
Yes.
A little visualizer on Instagram.
Yes. Did you like that?
That's a cool thing you've been doing. All the verses are going to have their own little spotlight off that song.
Yep.
And I think that's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
It's a cool idea.
I want to show respect to everybody that was gracious enough to let me use their vocals on this cipher track. It was it was probably the most amount of time I've ever spent on any project within the music world. I spent so many hours.
Because if you know anything about rappers, we are notoriously hard to wrangle.
Not only that, like I learned a lot about the rap process itself. Like I'm not a rapper. I don't know how to rap. I don't know how to fit in raps into the pocket as perfectly as a rapper would. So I learned a lot, and I learned a lot from you, speaking up and telling me like this shit's fucked up. If you hadn't done that, the track would have been super whack.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that it's happened to me a lot in my career is when I don't provide a reference track that people put my vocals in weird places, and maybe that just means that I rap in weird places, but...
No. That's on the producer. I should have requested that.
But also, you get to see, 7, 8 different MCs in their process in terms of like, this is how I write, or this is how I approach a track, or this is how I do this, or this is how long I take. Everybody's so different when it comes to creating and finishing a verse.
Yep. And I will say, I think all the verses came back to me within like 2 months, so that wasn't an issue at all.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I know mine came out quick because
you were the first.
You said, "Hey, I have this idea," and then I said, "Okay, here's a verse."
Was it? I don't know. Maybe we both came up with the idea. I think you gave me the idea or something.
Yeah, you caught me at a good time though, because usually, sometimes I'm in a writing mode, sometimes I'm not, and I was in a writing mode and snapped it out. And that verse is hella old at this point.
Yeah, now it's over a year old, or probably about a year old. But yeah, thank you for doing that, bro. Fire verse. Yeah,
thanks.
Fire bars.
Thanks for having me and put me in the back so I didn't ruin the track.
That's not true. If you noticed, I split up the so Kin, right? Kin connected me with basically all of his friends in the hip hop world, and that happens to be Bad Luck, Gritty, and The Truth. So I felt indebted to him to kind of set off the track with his crew, because not only the King connection, but I had to figure out a way to structure all of the verses, and I didn't want to put a hook in between each verse. So
that was the hard part. It was like, we've got a ton of verses. Are we going to split it up?
Right.
Are we just going to have it run? And yeah, that's another
and I didn't
part about putting the puzzle together.
Yeah, I didn't know the best way, so the decision I made was to put a hook at the beginning, which in turn made me think I got to put Luck first, which in turn meant I got to put that crew first, which in turn means you felt disrespected, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, stop being so sensitive. I'm just messing with you.
You did have one of my favorite verses on there. I'm not going to say who did, but you definitely did.
Thank you.
All right, enough cuteness.
Anyway, so this is something that today that we're going to do that's been percolating for a little bit.
Yeah.
ILLu came across a story about a hip-hop legend that you probably have never heard of.
I did not hear about him.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of him until you mentioned it, and then you brought it to my attention. I read the story. I was transfixed. I was like, whoa, I had no idea. But today we're going to talk about Paul C.
Yeah.
Who killed Paul C?
Paul C. First of all, who killed Paul C is the overall question, and that's probably what I'm going to name this episode. But I'm going to go through who is Paul C, because I didn't know who he was before I found this story. And I can't remember if I found the article, which I'm going to link in the description. It's an article by Gino, and I might mess this up, Gino Sorcinelli from medium.com. Like I said, I'll link it in the description. It's Paul C. McKasty, The Legend, The Tragedy, The Story of an Era by Gino Sorcinelli.
Yep. It's a good read. It's very it's very informative, and like I said, I didn't know much about him, especially you being a producer.
I know.
I'm sure this hit close to home.
I thought I had heard about every OG producer ever. I thought I had done my homework, but no, this guy was somehow left out, and I'll get into it a little. But so Paul C was a producer, engineer, mixer, and hip hop pioneer in the early days of the 1980s. He worked with some names that just blew my mind when I first heard it. He either produced, engineered, or mixed, mastered, or recorded Eric B. and Rakim, Queen Latifah, Biz Markie, Organized Confusion. If you don't know who Organized Confusion is, I don't even know what to say to you. But from Organized Confusion came Pharoah Monch. And again, if you don't know who Pharoah Monch is, get the fuck out. One of my favorite MCs of all time.
Or get the fuck up.
Yep. Simon Says. Oh, I like that tie-in. But beyond that, he worked with Large Professor, one of the greatest hip-hop producers of all time. He worked with the Ultramagnetic MCs who were in their own right legends in the 80s. And then he also worked with Rozelle, who most people would probably know from his connection with the Roots. He's probably my favorite beatboxer of all time. If not my favorite, the most famous beatboxer of all time, besides like Dougie Fresh or something like that.
Yeah.
Just absolute titan, huge names in hip-hop, even to this day.
Yeah. It's crazy. Guys that we've heard of, legends that we've heard of.
Songs that we've heard.
Songs that we've heard. And when I heard some of these songs, I was like, oh, wait, what? That was him?
Right.
That was Paul C?
Right. And I'm going to play a couple of later.
And he's one of those guys that, the real people know about and the real people love and respect.
Yep.
And it's just like, yeah, man, like maybe it's because of his, what happened to him that we don't really have him in the regard of the greats of all time, because he didn't have a huge window of time.
And I think
with us,
it was definitely that. It was also the timing. Hip hop didn't have the coverage that it does now, obviously, at the time, and nothing was on computer, so things weren't saved. And I'll get into a reason why I think his story wasn't told, at least as well. And I will say that the article that I got this from was super cool, and like you said, it was very well written. And I will tell whoever's listening to this, it's worth a read if you get it. It's on Medium.com.
It's definitely worth a read.
But yeah, Paul C, he grew up a musical prodigy. He played bass before making beats. And in the hip-hop scene, he was probably most known for and revered as a vinyl collector. And people still look up to him as a pioneer on the EMU SP1200, which I don't know if you know much about, but is one of the most famous samplers and drum machines of all time.
Right, that's what I was going to say, that he was one of the first and biggest pioneers of the SP1200.
Yep.
Well, like we know Dilla with the MPC.
Yep.
Paul C, SP1200.
Yep. And I mean, Dilla was a whole nother beast. Dilla not only conquered the MPC, I think his early beats were on the SP as well.
Probably. I mean, that was the era, so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
His early days, like Dilla started producing way earlier than most people think. But this is about Paul C.
This is about Paul C. But I'm saying that's the comparison.
Yeah,
like
what
Dilla was to the MPC, Paul C is to the SP1200.
And I don't know if you knew this, but that very same thing was mentioned by the Roots. Why am I blanking on his name? Questlove. Questlove was interviewed about sampling and record collecting, and he mentioned Paul C as being Dilla before Dilla.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. I did not see that.
That's really cool that you mentioned.
I'm just going to take credit for,
That's really cool. That
geniuses think alike, apparently. So
it's true. We'll find out if that's true after all of this is said and done.
Yeah.
Terrible joke. Moving on. But yeah, like how could I have never heard this story? I don't like to tout like my skills or anything, but I consider myself like a hip hop head. I fucking love hip hop.
Yeah.
I've spent many an hour just looking up random hip hop facts, just shit most people don't care about. I have forced myself to learn. And it's like,
right.
I can't believe I've never even heard an inkling of this guy's name. What?
Yeah.
And like, why wouldn't the story be told? And I looked into it a little, and it turned out that 6 years after his death, the recording studio, which held a lot of his recordings, actually burned to the ground, and nothing was saved. And I think, having said that, that was the early 90s. Nothing was digitized at that time, so they didn't have backups. And I think, had that not happened, his story would be more well preserved.
Probably. I think that's a good way to put that, because like you said, it was a different era. We didn't have backups of backups of backups. Everything wasn't on the cloud.
No, it was probably on cassette.
Yeah, cassettes, DATs.
Yeah.
All sorts of lo-fi stuff that, you don't have that in your hand? Oh, it doesn't exist.
Do you have any DATs over in the studio where you're at?
No, and we might have. I mean, we moved like 3 or 4 years ago, and there might have been some in the old building, but no, we don't have anything in here anymore.
Yeah, even those are outdated now.
Bro, I don't even think I have any CDs in here anymore.
Wow. So everything.
I got no.
What?
Yeah, everything's just on the computer.
Wow. It's just like a playlist. You press play, and it just does its thing.
Yep.
It's pretty.
Everything's automated, which is weird because I feel like that's pretty common knowledge, but then like
I get it.
I'll be home on a weekend or something. Like, oh, who's taking care of the station? It's a computer. Like, I don't need to be there 24/7.
Which is kind of scary. Hopefully, it doesn't go fully automated anytime soon.
God, I wish it would. It's so much, make my life a lot easier.
Get that universal basic income first.
Bro, I watched Avengers: Age of Ultron last night. I would not mind a Radio Ultron take over. I don't give a shit.
I don't know the reference.
Help me.
Hey, I don't mind that. Give me $1,000 a week. I'm down. I don't want to work either.
Yeah, I like not working. That'd be nice. I didn't get a pandemic break
At all?
No, a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, I stayed home and nothing happened." And, the first 3 months of the whole shit, and nah, man, I was as busy as ever.
Yeah, I work from home, so I definitely got like a huge break, but I've been working the whole time. And now that I think back on it, like I was going to the post office without a mask on for the first month because nobody knew better.
Living dangerously.
I kind of think I should have gotten hazard pay, but I don't really want to bring it up with my boss right now.
Oh, no. Yeah, exactly. I mean, same thing. It's like, oh, you're going to make me come to work every day in the middle of a pandemic, even though I was completely safe. It was like, oh, just the fact that you made me do that. Like, come on, ante up.
Right, exactly. Thankfully, you work solo, right?
Well, now I do. Yeah, they sent home the old ladies I was working with because they were in the danger zone.
Right.
And then they decided to retire, and so my site, I'm all by my lonesome now. Hence, all the action figures to keep me company.
That wall actually looks a little bigger this week. Am I wrong?
Bro, it is a little bit bigger, and I've run out of space.
What did you add?
Oh, bro, I added a ton of stuff. I added I got stuff on the side. I got stuff sitting here that can't go on the wall. Like it's just
you have that other
taken
wall.
Over. I do have the other wall, but
no, not that wall. The one behind you.
Oh, but that's carpet. That's part of the.
That's carpet.
Yeah, it's part of the soundproofing of the production studio.
Oh, so you can't add anything to it?
I mean, I'd rather not. If you see, it's just all carpeted.
Is that where you record raps?
Nope.
That's at home?
No, I record here. I just record in the on-air studio.
Oh.
I don't know why. I mean, they're both similarly shittily treated. So
that's what I was going to ask. If that was treated any better.
No, but I don't know. It's just easier. Anyway, back to what we're talking about. Yeah. Paul C.
Who killed Paul C? Why would anybody want to
kill Paul C?
This guy was talented.
What happened to Paul C, though?
Well, let's get back into the story. Like I said,
all right.
He engineered songs like Biz Marquis' "Like a Friend," one of the biggest songs of all time. Queen Latifah's "Ladies First," one of the biggest songs of all time. Eric B. and Rakim's "Let the Rhythm Hit," one of the probably hip hop greatest songs of all time, if not any genre. And it could have been a movie. Hopefully one day somebody writes a screen up based off of the article that was written. Because it definitely, I would watch this. And I don't get why it wouldn't be, especially considering people like Pharoah Monch and Large Professor knew him so well.
Right.
I think they'd want to have more of a.
I mean, there's still a lot of players that are around to give some insight.
I know. I wanted to reach out, but I did not.
Oh, come on.
Do you think they would have wanted to come on the podcast?
I mean, it's possible, but I think we would have had to been a little bit more in depth and a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe this is just part one. I feel like we can do this story. Maybe we can present it better one day when we're not in a pandemic.
Yeah. Anyway,
but yeah, the story, most of his work was unfortunately destroyed, which led to most of his legend or story just being left in the wind, not being told, and being harder to tell. But before hip hop, he actually began his music career in a pop rock band in the early 1980s.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to pronounce this correctly. The Mandolindly Roadshow.
Sounds good to me. Mandolindly Roadshow.
The super hot pop rock band. I know you're up on your early 80s pop rock.
That's right.
Obviously way different than the hip hop that he would soon be known for. But during that time, his bandmates noticed that he could interpolate famous songs and riffs, and it was an early sign of his ability to sample, in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah, it's the same part of your brain. You're replaying stuff. I mean, that's what people do now. They replay parts of samples that they can't clear.
Yep.
I mean, he was just doing that.
Yep, and they'll change one note at the end of a bar just to make it their own. That's how they at least don't have to give full credit to the song that they sample.
Yeah, do the Vanilla Ice defense.
That wasn't even that. That was. I don't even know what his defense was, but it was not that.
His defense was, well, the original goes dun 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 dun, and mine goes dun 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 dun.
Oh yeah, exactly. Okay, buddy. You know what I think is bullshit with sampling copyright laws? Remember the song "Blurred Lines"?
Yeah.
Looking back on it, very creepy song at the time. People liked it, and the beat to it was produced by Pharrell. Pharrell ends up getting sued by Marvin Gaye's estate because it had the same feel as one of Marvin Gaye's famous tracks that I'm blanking on right now. But it didn't have the same chord progression or anything. It just had like the same tempo and the same groove. And they still made Pharrell pay for that. Yeah, like
that's ridiculous.
I'm all for sampling.
Of course. You're a sampling producer.
I'm all for the people that I sample getting credit.
Yeah.
But it has to be in a more clear way than that, because Blurred Lines wasn't a direct sample of that Marvin Gaye track.
Yeah, that one blew my mind.
Did you hear about that when it went down?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that was big news, I guess.
Yeah, it was a big story on my stations because we were playing that song like crazy.
And now I feel like I didn't realize the lyrics were so creepy until like all of it came out. I guess I never actually listened to it before.
What are you fiddling with?
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh no, this is gonna be terrible.
What are you fiddling with?
Well, I'm sitting in front of my record. I have like this cool wooden record holder that folds out, and I've been doing that to keep busy. I guess I don't even know.
Oh, I was just like, is that me? Like, I'm not doing anything.
No.
Like, there's nothing around here.
Oh, I just ruined the whole podcast though.
You did not. It's like the toy. Like, are my action figures moving? Are they doing something? Like, are they not following the Toy Story rules? What's going on?
I hope not. What was that other movie with toys that came alive? It was like Army.
Small Soldiers.
Yeah, I actually really liked that movie.
I was a fan as a kid.
Yeah,
I dug it.
That was a cool movie. All right.
Did Paul C. Sample any Small Soldiers?
No. I bet he would have though if he had the chance, but his life was taken too short.
Tragically.
He right. So he was in that early '80s pop rock band. He began to record that band, and that sparked his interest in recording.
Right.
The Amanda Lindley Roadshow disbanded eventually, although I apparently I just did it fucking again. They all stayed close, and I guess the lead guy was named. His last name was Lindley, and he played the mandolin, which is where the name Mando Lindley came in. I don't know if
It's kind of perfect.
caught that. Yeah, it's like ILLu. That kind of worked out too.
There you go.
They did release a debut album. Eventually, they disbanded. Like I said, he began recording rappers in his bedroom, which it's like how everybody starts, I guess. But like
That's what we're all doing.
This is the 1980s. It's just like a whole different world for doing something.
That was nuts to me. I was like, what?
Yeah, and then eventually he upgraded to his parents' garage, which is big upgrade.
Moving on up.
His collaborators described him in the same vein as Rick Rubin, as a genius behind the boards. Which, if you don't know who Rick Rubin is, he is the mind behind like the Beastie Boys, LL Cool J, and a lot of the early Def Jam sounds and sampling. He was one of the very first, pioneers of sampling himself.
Yeah, and the kids out there might know him from 99 Problems.
Yep. I don't even know if a lot of people know he produced that, but he did produce it.
Yeah. Rick Rubin's the man.
Yep, and he's got some cool interviews. I just did it again. He's got some cool interviews on YouTube.
Don't get in your head now. It's all right, man.
It's getting to me. I feel the pressure. But yeah, Rick Rubin's the man.
Yeah, he's got his own podcast now. I heard an episode with Andre 3000 recently.
Yep, very cool episode with Andre. He had a cool episode with Kendrick Lamar too. He had a cool episode with Pharrell. I think there's an episode with Tyler the Creator too.
Yeah.
He has a way of getting those people to open up. It's really cool.
Right. But yeah, once again, it's everybody, comparing him to Rick Rubin, just another genius,
Yep.
like so far we got Paul C compared to Jay Dilla, Rick Rubin, like
Yep. Yep. Which is just
good
like
names to be in the same breath as.
Yeah, which all the more reason we should know his name. And I hope people take this podcast and go and check out his music more. I'm going to play some songs in a little bit. But getting back to his story, his first big break came when he went to buy a synth at 1212 Records. He got the balls to ask for a job that day, and they gave it to him. He worked his way up from the bottom to mixing and recording,
Crazy.
using his skills that he was using at home. He learned fast and gained respect very shortly. He began sneaking his friends in, Mikey D and DJ Johnny Quest, which is awesome name.
I know, right? You used to watch Johnny Quest?
I grew up on it. Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay, yeah.
love
Cartoon Network.
Yep. Thankfully, I don't know how I must have watched it at a grandparents or something, but
That's what I was doing. They had my grandparents had the big old
the box TVs.
12-foot satellite dish.
Oh, that too. I don't know if they had that.
It's outside. It looked like you were trying to dial NASA from your
It
front yard.
didn't work in the rain.
No.
He so this is actually a cool part. He began sampling by recording Mikey D, who would basically beatbox individual drum hits into the SP-12, which was a predecessor to the 1200. He would take that technique and he would record Rozelle, who would take even more complex rhythms, and he would Paul C would manipulate Rozelle's voice up and down to create the bass line from Brick House.
It's ridiculous. Like,
considering the time and the elements and the technology, it's just like, how the hell would he do that?
Like, why would you even think to do that?
Right, exactly. And that's
like now it's just like, oh yeah, we're playing with sounds. We're gonna put this on this pad and do this and that. But this was brand new when he was doing.
And he was using a machine that just wasn't created for that purpose. He was doing something like revolutionary.
He was making it work.
And it's just very few people would have even known that could have been done, and he did it.
Yep.
So 2 years after he started making beats, he connected with the Ultramagnetic MCs, and he produced this classic Give the Drummer Some, which I'm going to play right now. Ultramagnetic MCs, Give the Drummer Some, produced by Paul C.
One, two, Ultramagnetics in full effect. We talking about giving the drummer some. You know what? Yo, cool Keith, tell him what's on your mind.
I'm ready, and now it's my turn to build, uplift, get swift, then drift off, and do my own thing. Switch up, change my pitch up, smack my bitch up like a pimp. For any rapper who attempt to wear troops and step on my path, I'm willing as an A1 general, rhyme enforcer, 235 on a rhyme test. What other group of vests and line? I put them all behind. Play MC Ultra as a warning sign of my skill and what my mind deserves. I smell a grape in the duck preserves. And who deserves the right to be king to scream and shout whack poetry? What are you bugging? Germs that wanna lure me, quit it before I heat your ear off. Let your burn deduct another year off rapping. For a face I'm slapping. Give me applause when hands start clapping.
So that was the Ultramagnetic MCs with Give the Drummer Some, produced by Paul C. And listening to it now, clearly dated, but again, this came out in the late 80s.
Before you go any further,
What?
I just want to make a note that I did not hear a single note of that.
Oh no!
It did not come through. So I'm over here fake bobbing, hoping that you're gonna fix it in post. You know?
No, I'm not. But they won't know.
But I have heard the song, so yeah, it's great. It is dated, but that's the sign of the times.
And
It wasn't dated back then. It was revolutionary.
And the sampling technology at the time limited him to 10 seconds total. So he had 10 seconds to sample all the drum elements, the bass line, the horn, and like that guitar thing that he sprinkles in too.
Yeah, can you imagine being that limited in your sample capacity?
I had an MPC 2000 at one point, which had 10 seconds, and I couldn't do anything. So I was just like, all right.
Really?
I need the MPC 1000.
Because, I had the 2002, but I had it...
Did you have the memory upgrade? You had
did.
You had an MPC 2000?
Yeah, I had a 500. I had
what? I didn't know that.
I had a 500, I had a 2000, I had a 2500, and I had a 3000 at one point.
Do you have any of those?
No.
What? You had a 3000?
Yeah.
You made beats like that?
It was huge. I loved it. It was great.
I want that. Oh, I wish you still had it, man. When?
I mean, this was a decade ago, at least.
So you were really making beats like that?
Yeah.
Damn. I want to.
Yeah.
Do you have them anywhere?
I have some, yes, but we will not be listening to any of those beats.
Not on here, but you got to let me hear them.
We will not listen to any of those beats. But actually, yeah, I did. The 3000, I never really got the workflow down, but it was the 500 that really was the one that I was comfortable with.
That's the most user-friendly. The 3000 is probably like the industry standard.
But I was working backwards, though, because what I was doing, I would chop up samples in Cool Edit, and then load them onto
Ah,
the pads.
yeah. I don't like that.
No, but that's how I did it. So
Hey, I didn't know you made beats like that. It's really cool. Why have you
Yeah.
never told me that?
because I don't make beats now. So what's the point? I want to make beats again, but I just don't have the bandwidth in my head to do it.
Yeah, maybe one day, man. I want to get you back into that. So,
Yep.
so that track, "Give the Drummer Some," was actually a collaboration between Paul C and this guy named Ced G, who was from the Bronx. And he was the beat maker for Ultramagnetic MCs. That at the time was a huge deal because of the Bridge Wars. If
Yep.
you don't know about that, there was tracks made on each side of Queens Bridge between who are the two crews? The bridge is over. I gotta get this right. KRS-One, Bridge Wars.
Come on, you got it. You're getting there.
MC Shan. Boogie Down Productions. And,
There you go.
And the Juice Crew. The Juice Crew is what was holding me up.
I knew you had it.
So yeah, that was at the time just like hugely. People were getting killed over this shit.
Yeah, it was one of the most notorious hip hop feuds of all time, and also it bled over to real life.
Yeah.
People were getting dropped
Yep.
for it.
Yep.
So it was a huge deal
Yep.
between those two boroughs,
Yep.
and here he is collaborating with the other side.
Yeah. And they both sides had to do it in secrecy, basically.
In secret.
Yeah, they had to do this all at night so people wouldn't see them moving around. Just
Yep.
incredible effort. So Paul C would end up mentoring Large Professor, showing him the ropes of the SP-1200. And Large Professor, in my experience, is most well known for my favorite hip hop album of all time, Illmatic. He produced a few tracks on there. And I think he actually worked with Nas, just coming up with Nas's style, basically.
Right. Him and Nas were attached at the hip. And let's just go rewind a second to what you just said.
What?
He was Large Professor's mentor. Like,
Right. But
you got Large Professor because of Paul C.
yeah, exactly. That's a direct lineage from Paul C to Large Professor to Nas, who gave arguably the greatest debut hip hop album. I won't say the greatest hip hop
hell
album,
yeah.
but the best debut hip hop album.
I mean, I'd put it up there with hip hop album.
In my opinion,
Not just debut. It's perfect. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't not knowing that Large Professor was under this guy's tutelage. I've done so much research on Illmatic itself. I figured that would have come up at some point.
Yeah.
But he's also well known for popularizing the use of the Skull Snaps drum break, which, do you know anything about?
I know the name, and hopefully I'll recognize it when you play it, and if I can even hear it.
Yeah, I made sure you hear this one. I do think you'll recognize it. I don't know what, though, so I'll see what you say about that. But this is Skull Snaps. It's A New Day. Came out in 1973, and one of the most famous drum breaks of all time, and one of my favorites. I've sampled it a couple times, actually. So let's get into that. Skull Snaps. It's a new day. So that's it. Did you recognize
It's beautiful.
it?
I did. I don't remember what song, but it's beautiful.
Just super dope. And it's so clean. You get like that kick, the hi-hat, and the snare. So
Yeah, especially being a producer, like, oh man, I got a clean, I got clean elements for all of them, because back in the day when I used to make beats, it was like, oh, this snare has a little bit of this element in it.
Yep.
This kick is dirty, and you gotta
or there was
try and find.
there was a bass layered underneath the kick or something that would mess it up.
Well, that's usually where my bass lines came from, is all the bass for the original sample, because
Yep.
I couldn't play bass.
No, me neither. That's a good way to sample it. That's really cool. Just off podcast, we got to talk about that more. I want to know more. I want to get you back into making beats.
I was heavy into beats.
I had no idea. I knew you made beats, but the only thing you told me was the Fruity Loop stuff.
Yeah, because that's what I make beats on normally. I mean, yeah, I used equipment for a little bit, but yeah, I was mainly Fruity Loops.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna get back into that in private, but
Yeah.
all right.
Moving on.
So Skull Snaps drum break. I just played you guys one of my favorites, like I said. So unfortunately, his story comes to an end when he was murdered, July 17th, 1989, in his mother's basement. Which, like, how did this person get to the basement while he was sleeping? It's just like, we'll get into it more. But
and they knew where he was. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
exactly.
Where he was going to be.
Right. How many people knew he was there at that time?
Yeah.
So he had been working with his friends and collaborators, the almighty RSO. And then the next day, they noticed that he didn't come to the studio, so they go to the house. And at that time, the police instantly look at them as suspects, and they bring all of them in for questioning.
Yep.
None of them were ever arrested or even charged with anything. In fact, no artist he worked with was ever charged or arrested with anything. And that's noteworthy because basically every single one of his friends and collaborators was at one time questioned and brought in by police. He was working with people like Large Professor and Pharaoh Monch, and I forgot to mention it before, but Cool Keith, who was in the Ultramagnetic MCs.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I forgot about
that.
that.
He gave his name a shout out. I had to give him a shout out because he's one of the best ever.
But yeah, like how, I mean, imagine being his friends at that point. It's like, oh, we're at the studio. Paul C didn't show up. He's never late. He's one of those dudes that was never late.
Yeah, he was known
always
for
on
being
time.
a hard worker. Being
and
early and staying late. That was him.
And back then, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have any of that stuff. So you're just sitting there like, is he going to show?
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
Right.
Then you go to his house, and the police are there.
Yeah, it's a crime scene, and then you are looked at as a suspect. It's like that's
Yeah, now you know something's up because you go there and the police are there. It's like, oh, man.
Eventually, some people were blackballed because of their connection to it.
Yeah.
With no proof or anything. Just like insane. And just like, what could have been if he was allowed? Where would he have been? Would he have risen to the ranks of a Large Professor? Would he have done something even bigger? Would Large Professor have taken the same path that he did? Like, the very story of hip hop was changed when he was killed. He had
because we never know the potential of what he had to give still.
Yep, and like the collaborators' careers, like everything changed that day. They all had to figure out a life post mentor, post friend, post collaborator. Just I can't imagine losing somebody like that. Just everything would change.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a legend. Shout out Paul C. The case was featured on America's Most Wanted. Did you read that far?
I did, but I haven't seen the episode. I haven't seen the clip.
I couldn't find a clip, but apparently it led to an arrest of someone down in North Carolina, but they were never convicted. But they were charged, but they couldn't find enough evidence.
That's how it goes. But like, what, you know, he was in the middle, like we said earlier, of the bridge wars.
Right.
So it's like, is that what happened?
Exactly. Could it have been related?
Did he cross somebody the wrong way?
How did they get into his house too?
That's what I'm wondering, because it's like, all right, so they obviously know where he lived.
Yep.
So you either, and like I said, there was no internet at that time.
Yep.
It's not like you just Google somebody like, oh, he lives down the street.
Yep.
Like you had to, know somebody that knew somebody.
Right.
So I mean, was it an inside job? Was it somebody that he knew?
This, in my opinion,
an enemy of somebody he knew.
It couldn't have been a random murder. So the person who did this,
I don't think so.
Intentionally murdered Paul C.
I think so.
And it's just, there's so many reasons I could get into it, but like we said, NYC was so different at the time with random violence basically being normal.
Right.
And I did find a theory. I don't know if you've read this part. Put it all the way at the end of the script, if you want to say that. But there is a theory that his estranged wife murdered him or had him murdered to collect money he had earned in the music industry, basically the royalties. Could it be a predecessor to Carol Baskins?
Man, I didn't even think of that.
It was a very loosely evidence supplied theory. But yes, somebody did mention that it was possible that she thought that he had made more money than he really did in the industry. Because at the time, hip hop was just gaining worldwide popularity. So they weren't really making that much money to begin with.
Right. They didn't have, McDonald's commercials, and they weren't, the highest grossing music genre.
They didn't have hamburgers at McDonald's named after him or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, meals. Yeah, I mean, that's what's so sad. It's like it happened so long ago in a different time, and unless somebody comes forward, we're probably never going to know what happened.
And that person
There's no way to find out.
Yeah, and they got off scot-free. They took the life of somebody so influential and so important to hip-hop, and they just, nothing ever came of it.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too. It's like being that person, like you literally changed the course of hip hop.
Yep.
like the person that did
And
this.
that's why I wanted to do this episode and just kind of shed light on this dude, because he is an extremely important figure in hip hop. And if you're studying hip hop the way I study hip hop, and you care about hip hop the way that I care about hip hop, his name is one that you should know.
Right. And, talking about it like this is important because, telling stories and putting this out there is how people aren't forgotten.
Yep, exactly. And
You know what I mean?
I want to give a shout out to the original article of once again, Paul C. McKasty, The Legend, the Tragedy, the Story of an Era by Gino Sorcinelli. And that's on medium.com. And we will link that in the description. Very well written. And it supplied all the information for our, or most of it. I got some of the information off Wikipedia too for the episode today.
Right.
And
But
the last thing I'll say is that his studio gear is the stuff that survived that fire is still very highly regarded within the recording industry, and people still look up to him so much that they want to own a piece of music machinery that he used or owned at one point.
yeah, there's like this, it's like having, like I said before, it's like having Dilla's MPC. Like like there's like some soul in it.
Yep.
Like, this is the piece of machinery. This right here. It's not just a computer. It's not just a program. It's like, no, this mechanical piece of art,
Right.
of, whatever, you created all the stuff out.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, to be a producer, to be somebody like that, and to like hold it in your hand, hit those buttons, hit those pads, like turn those knobs. It's like, man, like so much magic came out of this machine.
I like that you mentioned Dilla in his MPC, because that's one of my dreams. He was known for using a MPC 3000, especially toward the end of his life when he was doing donuts and stuff. That's what he would be using. Right. So I've always just wanted to see his point of view when he was looking at the beat machine. Like, can I hit the pads the same way?
Yeah, right, for sure.
Same thing.
You gave me chills.
I can't believe you had a 3000 and you got rid of it.
I did, but going back to the Paul C stuff, I don't remember. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but there was the picture in the article with Large Professor. He got to sit with the SP for a little bit.
Yep.
And is the equipment in a museum?
That
didn't they put it in one of the museums somewhere? I don't remember it, so I was seeing if you.
Let me make sure. I think that was actually written about the SP 1200 that was purchased by some music producer.
So it's just in a private collection somewhere.
I think I'm looking it up right now. Wow, his brother's name, David Blair. Oh, I thought it was David Blaine. Damn it! I was like, could it be even weirder?
Almost.
Okay, I'm looking up for that picture. Paul C. McKasty.
Yeah, for some reason I just remember that maybe it was on display somewhere, like in some hip hop museum or Smithsonian or Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or somewhere.
It should. There should be like.
Or it just could be in Large Professor's back room.
Is there a unified hip hop museum?
I mean, I'm sure there's some stuff in the Bronx. I'm sure there's hip hop museums, but I don't think there's like a overarching this is all the cool stuff in hip hop.
It looks like it was in a private collection. It's in a guy named Recluse's studio.
Okay, so I'm just dumb. I don't know where I read that.
No, you just want to make a cool story even cooler.
Yeah, and I fucked it up.
All right. Well, that's the story of Paul C. McKasty, legendary hip hop producer, engineer, beatmaker. Like I said,
taken before his time.
I was gonna play a couple more tracks. Maybe I'll just play one more. This is Eric B. and Rakim's "Run for Cover," one of my favorite songs from that era. Let's see if I can get it playing properly. There we go. You can hear it?
Yep.
Run for cover. Here I go again, ready to flow again. Better hope my mic don't blow again. Warm by alarms when the mic get warm. Crowd get critical, can't keep calm. Jet for the exit. Why
You better pass the mic to the massacre master that has a power to build and destroy at the same time. Subtract the whack and the right and exact a shine. Make the beat overheat, but I won't stop, so evacuate the spot when the mic's hot. Switch it from one hand to another, and that's a hint, my brother, run for cover. Cause I'm armed, my brain contains a bomb, as if I escaped from Vietnam. Some people label me lethal. Lyrics I made, then pull beats to. Format collapse, your lungs twist your tongues. You can't bump your gums off of none of the drums. Words that I made to create an iller scene. Every being a fly human being on a guillotine.
Super dope. Even for being so primitive and bare, like it's.
But it's so dope though, like how that bass line is so subtle there in the verse,
Yep.
and then like the hook. Oh.
He takes elements in, he takes them out, but the drums are always there to keep the bounce going.
But of course, would be 80s hip hop without the drums driving it, right?
Yeah, it's true. Even now.
And maybe that's what we'll talk about next time. We'll dive into production. We get to nerd out on producing.
Now that I know you had multiple NPCs,
Yeah, man.
I think we should. That's a good idea. But we're a sports pod too. You want to talk some sports?
Sure, man. We got a couple minutes. We just had NBA draft plus free agency.
Yeah.
Teams changed up a little bit.
Obi Toppin
and,
coming in. Let's go.
Yeah, man. I thought you'd be pumped, and I texted you, and you were just kind of like, eh.
Well, I'm not sold on anybody in this draft, to be honest with you. But he's a New York kid, and they were saying that the Knicks were going to draft up to get him. So I'm glad that they didn't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you have a shitty team, that's what you want. You either want a local kid or you want a kid that wants to be there.
Yeah.
Which I hear that the Kings draft pick, Tyler Halliburton. Or Tyrese Halliburton.
Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, there was a rumor going around that he was working agents and working GMs to drop.
To drop?
To get to to get to Sacramento. I don't believe
I
that.
don't believe that.
I don't believe it in any shape. But there's some real reputable reporters that were saying that, and I was like, man, that seems kind of odd. But hey, we'll see what happens. Apparently, because everybody was saying that that was one of the steals of the draft was, Halliburton at 12 to the Kings.
They hit the 12th pick? I thought they were higher up than that.
No, they were the 12th. And what makes that even cooler that we got him was that we won a coin toss at the end of the year with New Orleans for that 12th pick. It was because the Kings and the Hornets, or the Kings and the Pelicans, finished at the same record. So there was a coin flip to see who would have that 12th pick.
Wow. You think there'd be some kind of analytic thing they could go off of, but nope, it's a coin flip.
No, it's literally a coin flip. But yeah, and then there was free agency, and
did they get
guys
anything?
did not. No.
I thought we were going to get Westbrook.
I thought you guys were going to get Westbrook too. I thought that was going to go down, but
now it seems like he's going to stay in Houston.
Yeah,
it's going to be awkward.
And James Harden too.
I know it's going to be so awkward.
And the new GM was like, well, we're prepared to have an uncomfortable training camp and have these guys in camp. I was like, all right, cool.
And
More power to you.
Training camp started today, right? Or
I think so, man.
Tomorrow. Yeah, I know for the Knicks. I think it did.
We got preseason games. I think next week.
I'm down. I want more basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with basketball. I'm in a weird spot though, because it's like based off what happened with the free agency with the Kings, it feels like a tank year.
Same for the Knicks.
And we haven't fully committed to a tank year yet, even though we've been tanking for the last 10 years.
Did you ever? How did you feel about the Bogdan Bojanovic ordeal?
I mean, I love Bogdan. He was one of my favorite players on the Kings, and he was probably one of their best players. But you have a brand new GM, and they already signed some guys to some big long-term deals. And so I can see not wanting to pay another guy that much money in your young core.
Who else?
And not have flexibility going forward.
Who else are you paying?
They're paying Harrison Barnes.
Oh, I forgot that. Oh, that's a terrible fucking contract.
They're paying Buddy Hield.
How's he doing? I heard he regressed a little.
He did. He regressed big time last year after being what looked like he was going to be one of the elite shooters. He's still an elite shooter, but like his 2019 Buddy Hield was 18-19 Buddy Hield was out of this world. Just incredible.
I remember.
And then, but that's part of the problem with Bogdan Bogdanovic, is because they kind of played the same position. They kind of took each other's minutes. Bogey knocked Buddy out of the starting lineup. Buddy's not the type of person that likes being slided.
What?
He wants to be the man. So it's like,
I heard some weird things about Bogdan's agent doing some like weird backroom stuff.
that was the other thing. So, as we know, Milwaukee's trying to lock up Giannis to a big Supermax extension.
Yep.
Well, Giannis apparently wants
Help.
Bogey.
Yeah.
He wants help, and Bogey specifically.
Mhm.
Like, he's been telling people that's who he wants. So his brother apparently has been trying to finagle some little back rooms. You know how NBA players talk to each other.
Which is so
and
funny
stuff.
because that's technically against the rules, but it's done.
It is,
It's done in
but it
plain
happens
sight.
all the time.
Yeah.
Right. So what happened was Milwaukee was so pumped to, make Giannis look like, oh, hey, this is what we're doing for you. We're getting you Drew Holiday. We're getting you Bogey. That they kind of jumped the gun and announced this trade and announced this deal before they were allowed to.
Right. Or
So now there's an investigation about tampering going on. And so now you can't really, do a sign and trade with that team, because if they say that, okay, you violated some rules, both teams are fucked. So you can't really go there.
I had heard that Bogdan's agent did that on purpose so that he could get an even better deal.
He might have, but the deal he got is the deal he was going to get anyway from other people.
I thought it was a sign-in trade that he would have somehow gained more money. Is that what happened eventually anyway?
I don't think they ever told. I'm not sure if they told the terms of the sign and trade in terms of the new contract. But obviously, you can't negotiate a new contract before free agency opened.
Right. Or
Technically.
they have a tampering period specifically, I think.
Right. So it was just all bad. So what happened was Atlanta signed Bogey to an offer sheet. He's a restricted free agent, which means the Kings could have matched. So now the Kings are in a position where it's like, all right, we already have a logjam with all this young talent. We've paid our guys already. We could pay him, but that's going to hamstring us in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could either try and get something for him by matching with a sign and trade, or let him go. And they chose to let him go, which, I get both sides of the story. Kings Twitter is super up in arms either way. I'm just like, I get it.
I don't know enough about Bogdan to say either way.
He's a killer.
I didn't see. I think the Knicks haven't played the Kings in 2020, have they? It would have been last year.
Yeah, I think they played him back in December.
Yeah, 2019
of last year.
2019,
right?
Yeah.
But you only get 2 games against the other team, or the other conference anyway. So
Yeah, that's a good point. I haven't seen a lot of him, so I have no idea how he.
You're gonna see him on the Hawks, and he's gonna kill you guys.
Aren't the Hawks gonna suck? He's their best
Hawks
player
picked
now.
up some. No, Hawks picked up some people. They got Trey Burke already.
Oh yeah, Trey Burke's obviously the best player.
They picked up Gallinari.
What Gallinari?
As a shooting big man in today's NBA.
He's old.
He's older, yeah. And I want to say they got Crowder. But I don't think it's Crowder. They got somebody else.
They got rid of Schroeder.
Well, he was gone years ago.
Really? Who did he play with last year?
He was on Oklahoma City.
You're right. Yeah.
And now he's on the Lakers.
Yep. And he's like, I need to start.
And he probably will.
Probably should.
Yeah. Wes Matthews went to L.A.
That team's gonna be good.
My boy DeMarcus Cousins signed a deal with the Rockets.
I thought it was. Is he the guy that? Or no, it was Dwight Howard made a post about re-signing with the Lakers, and he's like, "I'm coming back." And then an hour later, he signs with the Sixers.
Psych. Yeah.
How much more money did he get from the Sixers?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
He couldn't have gotten that much more. It's just a weird move.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen this, but the New York Football Giants are in first place in the NFC East.
Are they really? Are they? How many wins do they have? Like 4, 5?
They started the season 0-5. They're now 4-7 and in first place.
How do you have such a terrible division year after year? Like that division is a joke.
It is. It's been the same way for like a decade.
Yeah, for every year they just are terrible. It's like, oh, we're gonna go to the playoffs with like 6 wins.
That might be the case this year. I think if the Giants win the division, they're gonna do it with 6 wins.
That's crazy. That's nuts.
I don't think it's ever happened before. I think the last time a winning or a losing team made it into the playoffs was the Seahawks like 5 or 6 years ago, and they actually ended up winning a game. So watch out for the Giants, baby.
Hey, what happened with Jones? I saw he went down.
He has a pulled hamstring. They said
okay.
It's probably at least a game.
Bro, I was watching Red Zone this last week, and I feel like everybody was going down.
This whole year.
Like, tons of injuries.
This whole year. I can't watch Red Zone, by the way. It's too much.
It's the only way I can watch football now.
Really?
Yeah. Because I play DraftKings.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
What's your experience with it? I've never done it.
It's great. It's a lot of fun because I'm not a huge football fan. Like I like football, but like I don't need to watch football.
Yeah,
But getting a team and trying to win some money, like that makes you care. And
true.
Red Zone is perfect because I get to look at all the games.
we spoke about that not last week, obviously, because it's been a couple weeks, but we spoke about that
and
last
I've
episode.
had a few good weeks since then too. I'm up like I'm up like $30 since then.
Damn, go all in.
I was going to, but I took a shit this last weekend. Thanksgiving and Sunday did not bode well for me. So
I can't believe the Ravens and Steelers still haven't played.
oh my
As
god!
of this recording, they have not played. And I have serious doubts that as of the episode dropping on Thursday, that the game will have been played.
And at 3:40 in the fucking afternoon, some weird ass time.
On Wednesday.
Bro, okay, so real quick before we go, if you guys don't know about that story, so the Steelers and the Ravens were supposed to play on Thanksgiving. Obviously, they had some COVID issues, so they pushed the game to Sunday. All right, I get it. It's the primetime Thanksgiving matchup. It sucks that it got postponed.
Right.
Whatever. Well, apparently COVID went even more crazy in those locker rooms because that Sunday game then got moved to, Tuesday?
Yes.
So the Tuesday game, because now they play on Tuesdays just in case there's COVID stuff. Well, then it's like, oh yeah, we have even more COVID tests. So that Tuesday game, you're gonna play on Thursday now. So they're playing a week later than they were supposed to play.
No, they're playing tomorrow on Wednesday.
Oh, they're playing Wednesday.
Yeah, supposedly.
Are you, okay, I thought I saw that last night that they were playing Thursday. But yeah, they've been postponed so many times.
Yeah. And it was the Ravens that had all the outbreaks. The Steelers haven't. And this is the third time that they've had a game this year. The Steelers alone have had 3 games postponed because of COVID. They haven't had a single player test positive.
And it's not their fault.
Nope.
How crazy is that?
And it's just like they can't do anything about it.
No, but I mean, it works for them. They're undefeated still.
Yeah, they're the best team in the league somehow.
Yeah, and maybe they might get another win because Lamar Jackson's one of the ones that tested positive.
Yep, he can't
If you're
play.
the Ravens, you're going to play against the number 1 team in the league without your MVP level quarterback.
And the Steelers have one of the best defenses in the league too.
Yep.
So
not looking good for the Ravens.
nope. And they're already having a tough season. They're on the brink of losing out in the playoffs.
Yeah. Let's hope they do because the Raiders need all the help they can get at this point.
The Raiders. Oh, I forgot you were a Raiders fan.
Bro. Oakland.
Show that shiny head one more time for the crowd. Woo! Look at that shiny bastard. I was talking about your head, right?
I know. I want to show off my fitted.
All right, we're at the end of the show.
Anyway, that's it. We're rambling. So that was Equalize Live. Of course, check out the shop at equalizerecords.com.
Big news coming.
Lots of good stuff. Big news coming this week. Probably tomorrow?
Yeah, it should be tomorrow.
When this airs.
Yeah.
So hit us up on all the social media. I'm at PreciseMC on Instagram, Twitter, PreciseMC13 on Facebook. ILLu, where are you at?
ILLu, at ILLu VT. All socials are the same. Check out Equalize Records on Facebook and Instagram, and on Twitter, check out Equalize VT because they wouldn't let me fit in the word records.
There you go. And of course, if you have any sort of topics you want us to touch on the show,
Yes.
If you want to hear us talk producing next week,
Yes.
if you want to hear my old beats, hit us up. Let us know.
You already down? You already shot that down. I tried.
I know, but if people ask for it, let's see who's listening.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Please.
I'm a whore for views.
People, if
so
you listen,
let's do
if
it.
you put up with my stuttering this long, please tell Pete we want to hear those beats.
Bro, it wasn't the stuttering this week. It was the click, 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 tap, 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 tap.
Oh, I'm going to hate myself when I listen back on that. I might have to do some
It is-
edits.
Nah, leave it in. Leave it in.
It'll make
Perfect.
It'll make the when I actually realize it even more fun.
Yeah, you're gonna miss the whole first half of the story.
Hey,
Anyway.
I wanted to thank you, PreciseMC. You are the greatest host on the greatest show of all time. So thank you.
Thank you for having me, good sir.
You're the best. I love you.
It is Equalize Live, PreciseMC ILLu, and we are out.
Equalize is out. Peace.